All right, in example 3, we've got an experiment consisting of recording the gender in birth order of a 3-child family. And the first question asks, using the multiplication principle, how many possible outcomes are there? All right, so think about the multiplication principle. How many choices do we have for the first child? So let's say we're going to count all the ways that we can have a first child. It's either going to be a girl or a boy, right? Because we're just concerned about the gender. So there's 2 possible outcomes. The second child, again, there's 2 possible outcomes. Third child, there's again 2 possible outcomes. So all of the possible outcomes should be 8. We have 8 possible outcomes. All right. Which brings us to the next question, which is to describe the sample space of this experiment. All right. So we're going to describe the sample space in roster notation. So I'm going to describe it. I'm going to put curly brackets around it because it's, the sample space is a set. And I'm going to just list all the possible outcomes of this experiment, right? We can use B for boy and G for girl. So one possible outcome would be you get all boys. Okay. Another possible outcome would be you get 2 boys and a girl. Another possible outcome would be you get a boy, a girl, and then a boy, right? Because the order matters because it says in birth order. All right, there's one more possible outcome where the oldest child is a boy, and that would be boy, girl, girl. All right. And that's really all you can get for the case where a boy is the oldest child. And I kind of like to work systematically. So the next thing I'm going to look at are all the cases where you have a girl for the oldest child. So you could have girl, boy, boy. All right. You could have girl, boy, girl. You could have girl, girl, boy. Okay. Or you could have girl, girl, girl. All right. So now we said there were 8 possible outcomes. So one way to check to make sure you got them all is that you should be able to count and see that there are 8. There are 8 possible outcomes, and those are those outcomes. Okay, those are the possible outcomes for the 3-child family in birth order. Okay, so the next question says to determine the event E in which there are 2 girls and a boy. So E is going to be all the possible outcomes in which we get 2 girls and a boy. Well, we can just look back at our sample space and pick out those outcomes, right? So we'd have boy, girl, girl. We could have girl, boy, girl, right? Or we could have the girl, girl, boy case, right? I think those are all of the possible outcomes that have 2 girls and 1 boy. Okay, just depends on who's the oldest, right? so that's our event E. Event F is the event in which the oldest child is a girl. Okay, so now all we really care about is that the oldest child is a girl, which is just going to be basically these last 4 possible outcomes. So it'll be girl, boy, boy, girl, boy, girl, 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 boy, or girl, girl, girl. Okay. All right, one more question here. Determine the event in which the oldest child is a girl and the youngest child is a boy. The event G. Okay, so we have event G. And now we know it has to be oldest is a girl and the youngest is a boy, right? And then we can fill in the middle with anything we want. So we could have girl, girl, boy, or we could have, again, we have to have oldest, youngest, girl, boy, and then the other option is that the middle child is a boy. Okay, so that would be all the possible outcomes where the oldest child is a girl and the youngest is a boy. Okay? All right, so I'll meet you in the next video for example 4.